30 years ago, a destructive tornado ripped through Huntsville, killing 21 people and injuring hundreds of others.
And just looking at the damage, I expect the death toll to go up.
WAAY 31 was the only station that remained on air to keep our viewers safe and informed.
WAAY 31 news anchor Pat Simon caught up with some of the survivors from that fateful day who count themselves extremely fortunate in more ways than one.
It was a nightmare.
Cars are just tossed left and right.
November 15th, 1989.
It's just unbelievable just to see the carnage.
A day Huntsville was struck by a major blow.
The lights just went out, and then we just heard this noise, and glass started blowing everywhere, and we just hit the ground.
And lives were changed in an instant.
The car started moving, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be blown away.
Even though severe weather watches were issued that day.
Destruction.
Rescue teams are working.
I heard help, help, help.
A monster tornado would tear through the city during heavy rush hour with no warning.
Everything has been hit by the tornado.
But because WAAY 31 had backup generator power, it was the only television station on the air
Amy Whitty is standing by live
to keep its viewers informed.
Where are you?
Heather, I'm at the Goldboro Shopping Center.
I just had a report from
This alert from then WAAY 31 Chief Meteorologist Gary Dobbs.
And now we have a report of a tornado on the ground.
It may have given a few life-saving seconds for people at home to take cover. Unfortunately for drivers along a busy airport road, there was very little chance to escape the fierce 200-mile-per-hour winds.
And just looking at the damage, I expect the death toll to go up.
21 people died that day, mostly drivers on airport road.
Step back!
And over 500 others were injured.
That's where all of these vehicles were flipped.
I just talked with some paramedics.
Former WAAY 31 reporter Tim Hall not only covered the chaos that surrounded him,
I had never seen anything like that in my life.
he also found himself assisting with rescue efforts.
And they saw the light on our camera and said, we have a couple of people we're digging out of the rubble, and we need the light from your camera right now.
And he'll never forget pulling one woman to safety.
I reached down, and she grabbed a hold of my arm in the center of my arm, and I pulled her up, and I said, do you need help? And she said, what just happened?
It's mayhem everywhere.
Former WAAY 31 photojournalist Scott Beamish found himself in the exact same situation. When his camera went down, he helped save lives, including Millie Goldstein.
She was a sweet, sweet lady.
There you see him helping carry Millie on the stretcher after pulling her out of her car that was lifted by the tornado and thrown right onto a transformer.
She kept saying, I'm so cold, I just want to go to sleep. I said, no, we're not going to sleep. You're going to talk to me. We're going to stay focused right here.
Millie survived that tornado, but others, including children, were still in its path as it traveled northeast. And then this powerful tornado came right up Carl T. Jones Drive, down that hill, and headed straight to the path of Jones Valley Elementary, where little 5-year-old Ryan McKinnon and 3 dozen others were inside.
They told us that the weather was turning and they needed us to get inside.
Ryan was in an aftercare program at the school. He remembers every detail of the tornado's crushing blow.
I remember them telling us to, cover our heads, get down in a ball as close as we can. And I remember looking up anyway, and looking out and seeing just this wall of swirling dirt and wind and just a tornado.
A look at the school made you wonder how anyone could survive this destruction, but they did. And yet this hungry tornado was not done yet. From Jones Valley, this tornado just roared right through Tony Drive, crushing home after home, including the Lunsfords' home here, that didn't even stand a chance.
It was moved off the foundation.
Betty happened to be at her church volunteering, while Joe was at work at Redstone Arsenal. Here's her reaction when she first saw her home the next day. Memories shattered. Her emotional photo plastered in newspapers all across the country.
It's just an overwhelming sense of loss. But you are so grateful that you're alive and that your family's all alive and healthy that that seemed minor.
Betty remembers the weather getting cold that night. It happened to snow, and she didn't have a coat.
We had a friend who came and brought me a raincoat and handed us a $100 bill.
she vowed to pay that simple gesture forward. Every year, for the past 30 years, she finds a family in need and gives them $100. And it all started on a day where countless others also received a special helping hand during one of Huntsville's darkest hours.
That's something that's been meaningful, our way of remembering.
In Huntsville, Pat Simon, Way 31 News.
Incredible.
Wow.
Well, there's a memorial outside the Presbyterian Church there at Weisbergen Airport. They actually found hymnals from that church all the way up in Hazel Green.
That's just incredible. And when you look at the scope of the damage, we know that storm system caused about $160 million in damage.
And to think about, the roadways impacted. We're talking really the heart of Huntsville and even beyond, taking you to Jones Valley, across 72, and the impact that that had in the time of day, just kind of multiplying all of those factors there with that tornado.
Absolutely worst case scenario.